Who created the world? On this second question, the Cathars were in agreement, not God. But on who, then, was the architect of our material world? On this second question, the Cathars were in agreement, not God. But on who, then, was the architect of our material world? The opinions were discordant. Almost all said Satan. But who is Satan? On this point, I want to give an example of how much the beliefs of the Cathars could differ. For some, it was an unfaithful angel who fell from heaven, but nonetheless was powerful enough to create the world. Others believed that an angel, even more fallen, was not, page 81, able to have such power, and so he had to be a son of God as Christ is. And here were those who believed that Satan was his younger brother, and those who believed that he was the older brother instead. And there were also those who posed the problem of the mother. Two sons so different could not have been born of the same woman. Still others believed that if Satan was so powerful, he must have been a god. On this opinion also there were differences. There were those who believed him to be inferior, and those who believed him equal to the good God. And that's not all. Among these last were those who claimed that if the two gods were equal, each must have their own trinity, and then Satan could not be the evil God, but rather his son, just as Christ was the son of the good God. But still others, taking for granted the equivalence between Satan and Christ, did not believe that they could be sons of God, nor of two different gods, but they were both angels. I believe I have sufficiently conveyed the idea of how complex the study of Catharism is, and how easily one can fall into the temptation to define it as a mess. However, the basic doubt always remains: are these really the beliefs of the Cathars, or statements extracted by the inquisitors? Whichever way it is, the theory posed by Beatrice in Canto 7 of Paradise doesn't seem to correspond to the doctrine of the Cathars, for who the material world is the work of Satan, or in some way of a negative principle, and not by angels and the heavens. Dante nurses a deep love for nature, for our world that is so beautiful, and this love shines through 1,000 similes, always precise, that constitute one of the reasons, and not the least, of the charms of his poetry. Certainly, the material world is not immortal, but Dante has said it by no less than Thomas Aquinas. Both that which never dies and that which dies are only the reflected light of that idea which our sire with love begets. Paradise 8, 52-54. God is like a mother who gives birth with love, loving the angels, but also the world and all creatures, for whom everything, including the smallest blade of grass, is the splendor of that idea. Page 82. This is true. Nevertheless, there are also in the comedy verses to say that the world was not really created, but is a product of Lucifer. One of the strangest inventions of Dante is the one that concerns the fall of Lucifer. In those times, it was believed that the world was a sphere. No one ever thought it was flat, standing still in the center of the universe, with the upper part consisting of the known world, that is, Europe, Asia, and Africa, while in the lower part there was only water. In the middle of this immense expanse of water, that is, at the antipodes of the inhabited land, Dante places the island of Purgatory, to which he arrives after travelling through all of hell, and from which he will climb to the stars. Why there? Not because from there is the Empyrean, which is infinite, in which everything is enclosed, and is not itself in space, but because a spiritual path of ascent must be the reverse of that fall, and Lucifer fell from that part. This was the side on which he fell from heaven, and for fear of him, the land that once loomed here made of the sea a veil and rose into our hemisphere. Hell 34, 121 to 124. According to this idea, that, I repeat, was invented by Dante, the world we inhabit, be it for where it is but also for how it is, could be seen as the product of the fall of Lucifer, has caused a reversal in it for which all men have lost the straight way that Dante teaches us to recover.